My daughter confessed. My wife's been cheating with my own son since he was 18. They even paid her $5,000 from the money meant to save my dog's life to keep quiet. Hello Reddit I+ here. I never thought I would be the kind of man writing a story like this. Yet here I am, sitting in a dimly lit living room at my friend's house, watching my 3 daughters sleep on a pull-out couch, while my entire world has collapsed in just a matter of hours. My name is Raymond. I'm 52 years old and I've been married to my wife Celine, who's 43, for a little over 6 years. We met at a rough time in both our lives. Her parents had just passed, and I had recently gone through a bitter divorce. She seemed like the kind of woman who brought peace into chaos, and for a while, she was exactly that. I had 2 children from my first marriage. My son Leo, now 21, and my daughter Marissa, who's 16. With Celine, I had twin girls, Ava and Lena, both 4 years old. Celine was supposed to be my anchor. I helped her wipe out her debt, supported her through grief, and trusted her with every piece of myself. She was there for me when my dog Rusty died, when my brother passed unexpectedly, and when I almost lost my job. If you looked at us from the outside, you'd say we had a solid, unshakable bond. But appearances, well, they can be a cruel disguise. The night everything fell apart started out as something so ordinary. I was in the kitchen preparing dinner. Steak seared in butter, roasted potatoes, and a medley of vegetables. Celine had just tucked the twins into their playroom with cartoons while Marissa sat at the counter, picking at her nails in that way she does when something's eating at her. I noticed. I always notice with her. "What's wrong, kiddo?" I asked, trying to keep it casual. She shook her head. "Nothing. I'm fine," but her voice cracked. I knew it wasn't nothing. So I pressed, finally, with tears welling in her eyes. She whispered something that almost made me drop the pan from my hand. "Dad, Leo's been with Celine." I froze. "With her? What do you mean?" I asked, though I knew damn well what she meant. She couldn't look me in the eyes. "Since he turned 18, I walked in on them. They paid me not to tell you. I thought it was some twisted joke." My brain wanted to reject it, to shove those words back into the air as if I had misheard. But the way her lips trembled, the way she avoided my gaze, my heart knew she was telling the truth. I took her upstairs, away from Celine, who was busy putting the twins to bed. I locked Marissa's bedroom door and sat across from her. "Tell me everything," I said, calmer than I felt. She broke down. She told me that on Leo's 18th birthday, the same night I was out of town on a business trip, Celine hosted a little get-together for him. When Marissa went upstairs to grab her charger, she opened the wrong door and saw them. "They freaked out," she said. "Leo grabbed my arm and told me I couldn't say a word. Celine was crying, begging me not to tell you. They gave me money, Dad. $5,000. It was the money you were saving for Rusty's surgery." My chest caved in. Rusty had died because I thought we couldn't afford treatment. Celine told me the money was gone. I believed her. That was 2 years ago. My daughter had carried that secret, eating her alive every day. Suddenly it made sense why she'd been cold toward Leo, why she'd snapped at Celine constantly. And now, sitting there, she was shaking, apologizing for not telling me sooner. I tucked her into bed, kissed her forehead, and told her she did nothing wrong. Then I went back downstairs, where Celine was already curled up in our bed like nothing was wrong. But I couldn't sleep, not with those words echoing in my skull. So I did what any broken, desperate man would do. I grabbed her phone. It didn't take long. Right there in her messages, Leo's name was saved with a little red heart. I scrolled back, trembling, until I found the beginning. 3 years ago, Celine had accidentally sent Leo a suggestive picture that was meant for me. At least, that's what she claimed. He responded by calling her gorgeous and too hot to resist. She didn't shut it down. She fed it. And within weeks, they were openly flirting. I found the exact night Marissa was talking about. Leo texted, "Can't wait for tonight. He'll be gone. It'll be just us." Selena replied with hearts and fire emojis. My stomach turned. Their conversations over the years only got worse. Plans to meet in hotels, late night sneaking around, and the most recent one, only hours before dinner that night, Selene had written, "I want your baby." Leo responded with laughing emojis. That's when I knew there was no saving this. Not her, not him, not us. I packed bags for Marissa, Ava, and Lena while Selene slept. Before leaving, I wrote a short note and left it on the counter. "I know, don't try to find me. Papers are in the drawer." Then I drove to my best friend Caleb's house, where I'm writing this now. The twins are asleep beside Marissa, who looks more at peace than she has in years. But me? I feel hollow. I don't know if I'll ever speak to Leo again. I don't know how Selene will react when she wakes up. She has a violent streak when she's cornered, breaking dishes, screaming until her throat bleeds. That's why I left quietly without confrontation. All I know is that the family I thought I had never truly existed. It was all built on lies, betrayal, and secrets bought with blood money. And now, I don't know where life goes from here. The next morning, I woke up on Caleb's old leather couch with a stiff neck and a pounding headache. For a brief, blissful second, I forgot where I was. Then I looked over and saw Marissa curled up with her sisters, their small bodies tangled under a blanket, and the weight of reality came crashing back. Celine knew by now. She would have seen the note. I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls. 43 unread messages. A mixture of Celine and Leo, their names flashing angrily on the screen. Celine's first message was pleading. "Ray, what is this? Come home. We can talk. Please don't do this in front of the girls." Then, more desperate, "You don't understand. It wasn't what you think." And finally, her mask slipping. "If you take my girls away from me, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life." Leo's texts were shorter, colder. "Dad, let's talk." Then, "You're blowing this out of proportion." And finally, "If you ruin Mom's life over this, don't expect me to stick around." Mom. That word almost made me throw my phone across the room. He was calling her Mom in texts. I didn't respond. Not yet. I needed a plan. Caleb walked into the room, his big frame filling the doorway. He handed me a mug of coffee without saying a word. That's one of the reasons I trusted him. He wasn't the type to pry until I was ready. But when I finally told him the truth, his face darkened. "Ray, that's not just cheating. That's sick. That's twisted." I nodded. "I know. So what's your move? You've got evidence, right? Screenshots, texts, everything. Enough to ruin them both." Caleb leaned back. "Then you don't go back. Not for a second. She'll try to reel you in, man. She'll cry, beg, twist it. But you've got to stay gone." I wanted to believe it would be that easy, but I knew Celine. She wasn't the type to let go of her control. Sure enough, that afternoon, there was a knock at Caleb's door. Celine. I saw her through the frosted glass panel. Hair messy, face red from crying. For a moment, I thought about opening it. Then I remembered Marissa's voice trembling as she told me what she'd seen. I remembered Rusty dying because the money had been stolen for their secret. I didn't move, but Caleb did. He stepped outside, shutting the door behind him. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard Celine's voice breaking, then sharpening. "Please, I just need to see him. He won't even let me explain." Then quieter, more venomous. "If he doesn't let me see my girls, I'll go to court." "You think I won't?" Caleb came back in after a while, shaking his head. "She's not giving up." That night, I sat Marissa down again. I needed to know more. "Sweetheart," I said carefully, "when you walked in on them, did it look like it was the first time?" Her face fell. "No, Dad. They were too comfortable, like it wasn't new." The words cut like knives. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked gently. She sniffled. "I was scared. Leo told me no one would believe me. Celine said if you found out, you'd hate me for ruining the family. They made me feel like it was my fault for seeing it." I hugged her, my chest aching. "You did nothing wrong. Do you hear me? Nothing." But deep inside I felt my rage hardening into something sharper. Celine and Leo hadn't just betrayed me. They had manipulated my daughter into silence. The following days were chaos. Celine sent flowers, voicemails, long emails full of excuses. One email read, "Ray, I swear, it was just a mistake. I was lonely. You were always gone for work, and Leo was there. I didn't mean for it to happen." Another, "It only happened a few times. It's not what you think." But then, when I didn't respond, the tone shifted. "You're ruining our family over something that doesn't matter anymore. If you tell anyone, you'll destroy Leo's future. Do you really want to do that to your son? You owe me for everything I've been through with you." That last one almost made me laugh. I owed her? Leo finally showed up in person, standing outside Caleb's house like a shadow. I went out to meet him. I had to. He didn't look ashamed, not even close. He looked annoyed. "Dad," he said flatly, "you need to calm down. You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I almost choked. "You slept with my wife. Your stepmother. You stole money that killed our dog. You lied for years." He rolled his eyes. "She came on to me. I didn't force anything. And besides, it's not like you and Mom were some perfect fairy tale. Don't act like you're a saint." That word again. Mom. I stepped closer, fury shaking my hands. "She is not your mother, and whatever she told you to justify this, it's wrong. It's sick." For the first time, his smugness cracked. He looked away. "You can hate me all you want, but don't drag her down for this. She loves you." I stared at him in disbelief. "She loves me? She wanted your child, Leo." His face paled, just a flicker, before he covered it with bravado. "You don't know what you're talking about." But I did. I had the proof. I left him standing there because if I stayed another second, I might have done something I couldn't take back. The days stretched into weeks. Celine kept trying. Sometimes she played the victim, sometimes the aggressor. Leo tried once more, then stopped showing up. I filed for divorce. I filed for custody, and through it all, Marissa slowly began to heal, opening up to me in ways she hadn't in years. She told me things I never knew. How Celine favored Leo, how she'd whisper things like, "Don't be jealous, Marissa. Your brother just needs me more." How she'd guilt-trip her if she tried to get close to me. It all made sense now. The manipulation, the secrets, the cracks in our family I never noticed, until it was too late. The last I heard, Celine and Leo moved in together, though they deny it to anyone who asks. She still sends me messages sometimes, alternating between begging for forgiveness and promising revenge. But I don't answer. I can't. Because the truth is, once you see the rot at the core of something, you can't pretend it's a tree worth saving. I don't know what my future looks like, but I know one thing for certain. I will never let that woman or my broken son near my daughters again. And for the first time in years, even with all the pain, I feel free. A few months after filing for divorce, the real war began. Celine showed up to every court hearing in designer clothes, crocodile tears streaming down her face, painting herself as a loving mother whose cruel husband had stolen her children. She spun a story about me being controlling, emotionally abusive, even claiming I brainwashed Marissa against her. But I had the screenshots, the texts, the timeline. When my lawyer dropped them in front of the judge, the room went silent. Celine's face went white, and Leo, who had come to support her, couldn't look at me. The judge dismissed her attempt for custody on the spot. Weeks later, I heard from a mutual friend that Celine and Leo had a massive falling out. Apparently, she'd tried to push him into being her forever partner. But Leo, in his usual arrogant way, told her he was too young to be tied down. He moved out, left her alone. Now she's living in a small apartment, still sending me long, bitter messages about how I ruined her life. But in the end, Celine ruined herself. As for me, I've got full custody of my girls. Marissa smiles more now. Ava and Lena are thriving. For the first time in years, my home feels safe. And that's all I wanted, peace. A few months after filing for divorce, the real war began. Celine showed up to every court hearing in designer clothes, crocodile tears streaming down her face, painting herself as a loving mother whose cruel husband had stolen her children. She spun a story about me being controlling, emotionally abusive, even claiming I brainwashed Marissa against her. But I had the screenshots, the texts, the timeline. When my lawyer dropped them in front of the judge, the room went silent. Celine's face went white, and Leo, who had come to support her, couldn't look at me. The judge dismissed her attempt for custody on the spot. Weeks later, I heard from a mutual friend that Celine and Leo had a massive falling out. Apparently, she'd tried to push him into being her forever partner. But Leo, in his usual arrogant way, told her he was too young to be tied down. He moved out, left her alone. Now she's living in a small apartment, still sending me long, bitter messages about how I ruined her life. But in the end, Celine ruined herself. As for me, I've got full custody of my girls. Marissa smiles more now. Ava and Lena are thriving. For the first time in years, my home feels safe. And that's all I wanted. Peace.